I shall say it, and you? I shall do the same. Apropos, are we to speak of your friends also? Athos, Porthos, and Aramis, or have you forgotten them? Almost. What has become of them? I don't know. We separated, as you know. They are alive. That's all that I can say about them. From time to time I hear of them indirectly. But in what part of the world they are, devil take me if I know. No, on my honor, I have not a friend in the world but you. Rochefort, and the illustrious what's the name of the lad whom I made a sergeant in Piedmont's regiment? Planchet, the illustrious Planchet. What has become of him? I shouldn't wonder if he were at the head of the mob at this very moment. He married a woman who keeps a confectioner's shop in the Rue de Lombards. For as a lad who was always fond of sweetmeats is now a citizen of Paris, you'll see that that queer fellow will be a sheriff before I shall be a captain. Come, dear D'Artagnan, look up a little courage. It is when one is lowest on the wheel of fortune that the merry-go-round wheels and rewards us. This evening your destiny begins to change. Amen, exclaimed D'Artagnan, stopping the carriage. What are you doing? Asked Rochefort. We are almost there, and I want no one to see me getting out of your carriage. We are supposed not to know each other. You are right. Adieu. Au revoir. Remember your promise. In 5 minutes the party entered the courtyard, and D'Artagnan led the prisoner up the great staircase and across the corridor and ante-chamber. As they stopped at the door of the cardinal's study, D'Artagnan was about to be announced when Rochefort slapped him on his shoulder. D'Artagnan, let me confess to you what I've been thinking about during the whole of my drive. As I looked out upon the parties of citizens who perpetually crossed our path and looked at you and your 4 men with fiery eyes. Speak out, answered D'Artagnan. I had only to cry out help for you and for your companions to be cut to pieces, and then I should have been free. Why didn't you do it? Asked the lieutenant. Come, come, cried Rochefort. Did we not swear friendship? Ah, had any one but you been there! I don't say. D'Artagnan bowed. Is it possible that Rochefort has become a better man than I am? He said to himself, and he caused himself to be announced to the minister. Madame de Rochefort enter, said Mazarin, eagerly, on hearing their names pronounced, and beg D'Artagnan to wait. I shall have further need of him. These words gave great joy to D'Artagnan. As he had said, it had been a long time since any one had needed him, and that demand for his services on the part of Mazarin seemed to him an auspicious sign. Rochefort, rendered suspicious and cautious by these words, entered the apartment, where he found Mazarin sitting at the table, dressed in his ordinary garb and as one of the prelates of the church, his costume being similar to that of the abbés in that day, excepting that his scarf and stockings were violet. As the door was closed, Rochefort cast a glance toward Mazarin, which was answered by one, equally furtive, from the minister. There was little change in the cardinal, still dressed with sedulous care, his hair well arranged and curled, his person perfumed. He looked, owing to his extreme taste in dress, only half his age. But Rochefort, who had passed 5 years in prison, had become old in the lapse of a few years. The dark locks of this estimable friend of the defunct Cardinal Richelieu were now white. As he gazed at him, Mazarin shook his head slightly, as much as to say, "This is a man who does not appear to me fit for much." After a pause, which appeared an age to Rochefort, Mazarin took from a bundle of papers a letter, and showing it to the count, he said, "I find here a letter in which you sue for liberty, Monsieur de Rochefort. You are in prison, then?" Rochefort trembled in every limb at this question. "But I thought," he said, "that your Eminence knew that circumstance better than any one." "I? Oh no, there is a congestion of prisoners in the Bastille, who were cooped up in the time of Monsieur de Richelieu. I don't even know their names. Yes, but in regard to myself, my lord, It cannot be so, for I was removed from the Chatelet to the Bastille owing to an order from your Eminence. You think you were. I am certain of it. Ah, stay, I fancy I remember it. Did you not once refuse to undertake a journey to Brussels for the Queen? Ah, exclaimed Rochefort, there is the true reason. Idiot that I am! Though I have been trying to find it out for 5 years. I never found it out, but I do not say it was the cause of your imprisonment. I merely ask you, did you not refuse to go to Brussels for the Queen, whilst you had consented to go there to do some service for the late cardinal? That is the very reason I refused to go back to Brussels. I was there at a fearful moment. I was sent there to intercept a correspondence between Chalais and the Archduke, and even then, when I was discovered, I was nearly torn to pieces. How could I, then, return to Brussels? I should injure the Queen instead of serving her.